Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new episode of Project LS400. In this episode I'll start working in the trunk area. I finally want to finish off the spare wheel top inside here. There are a lot of holes that were drilled in there for installation of the LPG tank. And I want to close them off. You'll never see anything of it again, but I can't stand those aluminum foil thingies and all those nasty holes in here. So let's get started. Okay, let's try this with a wide shot. There are several holes in here. Not sure if you can see this one. There's a small hole. There was a bend over the circular tank in here. There's a hole here. And here are the main holes towards the engine, towards the front. And this one was coming from the outside, from the filler that was in the bumper. And in order to install the whole shebang, they also knocked off this brace. And I think that's for the car jack, and there are some nasty tiny little holes in here. I made two circular inserts for these holes, and there are 4 holes on the edges over here. I'm just gonna plug weld them, and I have to find a way to make small fill-ins for these ones. But before I do that, I have to take safety measures because the fuel tank is still in the way, and I'm gonna cover this up and put all the vulnerable lines as much away as I can, because the welder I use tends to sputter a bit, and that comes with a welding method. So anyway, let's start off by masking off the tank with fire retardant blankets. So let's start off with test fitting the 2 inserts I made. This one goes in very nice. Well done, Arnold. This one also goes in nice. Those were, I believe, 33mm holes. I'm gonna tack one in first and then tap it in place. Now I have to find a place where I can attach the ground clamp of my welder. And I used in a corner over there. I can't use it this time. So let me see. I think I put a bolt through here. There's a small hole in the back, and use that as my ground clamp. Okay, I have my welder set up in a corner. Now let's see if I can tack this one in. The first real welds with my new welder in Project LS400. Now you can see I have to work a little bit with the settings and getting used to this. I see a lot of that gray-white residue on there, but that comes with the welding method. I'm gonna get my cordless drill with the wire wheel, clean it up and see how this looks. It looks terrible on camera and there are some small pinholes, but I'm happy with this. So far so good. I'm gonna cover it with some protective coating, and then I'll treat it with a little bit of body filler, and then these holes will be invisible. Now the only thing that's left to do, this is where I have my my earth clamp for the welder on. The only thing I have to do is fill in those 3 smaller holes, and I had the idea of putting a little €1 things in, but I think they're a bit too large, so I'm gonna look for smaller fill-ins for that. It's the following day and I forgot to coat this, but anyway, all holes are now filled. The next thing I'm going to do is get out my angle grinder with a flapper wheel and grind everything down. And I noticed that in this area I took my flashlight and put it behind there. I saw some small pinholes. I think I have everything filled in for now, but this area where the main gas fuel lines went through were corroded from the outside, so the material was very thin, so I had to do a lot of fill-ins there. But anywho, let's get out the grinder and start grinding away. Okay, I'm done with the axle grinder, angle grinder I mean. Now I'm going to use my belt grinder and finish up the welds. I'm using this Motip LU zinc spray for my first base coat rust protection. Okie dokie, now let this dry for, let me see, 24 hours and then I can start painting the boot. Okie dokie folks, it's a couple of days later and I'm actually filming this with my new camera. After I treated the surface with the primer, the zinc primer, I also smeared a bit of seam sealer on these areas here. I try to do that as flat as possible, like body working and like using filler. Only thing is this stuff remains a bit flexible, but I want to make it as flush with the bodywork as possible. So what I did, I got a scuff pad and now will attempt to knock the raised edges down a little bit. In an ideal situation, things would be flush with the metal and my repairs would be invisible, but I think that's a bit over my abilities at this moment, because I have to get used to the welder and all, and besides that you will never see this again. The important thing is that it is solid and it's watertight. So there were small pinholes, so I applied seam sealer on the outside and on the inside. The only thing is I don't want to look like a bodge job, just clean it up a little bit. Okay, let's zoom in a bit. This is the it's a pass-through grommet. This is one line for the ABS sensor, the wheel speed sensor, and the other one is for the height sensor of the air suspension. Now I can't pull this out at this moment, so I'm gonna mask it off with painter's tape before I give the spare wheel top a rattle can overhaul. Well, it's time for a rattle can. Give this a good shaking. Well, my rattle can is empty, but I think I just had enough to cover the entire spare wheel top. So now let it sit and dry. Then I'm gonna cover it with some clear coat, I think, and we can call this job finished. Now my rattle can is empty. I noticed that the paint is slightly off. It's a bit more bright once it builds up layers and it gets its final coating. And you have a look here, you can see it looks bright green over here where it just covers the primer, but when the paint builds up it gets darker and brighter green. Same goes for the paint with my rattle can. Only thing is it's just a tad brighter than the original paint. Now I need to get a new rattle can for other paint work I have to do, and I can't bring the car at this moment to the body shop and have a paint match. But what I can do is take off the gas filler door, then go to my part supplier and see if they have a matching paint color in a rattle can. So that's what I'm going to do now. Only thing is it's very cramped in here, so I can't show this on camera, but I want to try and show you how to remove the gas door so you can take it with you for paint matching and such. So as you can see, I took out those clips, but they all broke off for some reason or another. But there are some screws in here. I'm gonna take those out. I'm gonna remove the filler cap, and then I can take this cover off, and I have access to 2 screws behind here. Now I have 4 screws out. Now I need to remove this hex nut that holds the door release. And once I have that out, I can pull this entire bezel out. It is a 19mm nut. It's not on super tight usually. There it is already. Just a few turns. Now I can take this out, keep the nut with my other screws. Let's get my hand behind here and let's pull it out from in the trunk area. Oops, there I dropped it. There's an extra washer I just dropped on the floor. Now I'm gonna put the camera aside and pull this out. And before you can pull out that cover, you need to pull out, let me see if I can point my finger, this line there that goes down there is for fuel spills. It drains it from the bezel so you don't have fuel running down the side of your car. And this is how it looks right now. I put the filler cap back on, and those little screws, you can lose them easily. I'm gonna clean this up later. Now let's head over to the bench, and over here on the bench are the cover. And this is where the fuel neck sticks through, and inside here is a metal plate, so it's quite a sturdy construction. This is one expensive piece. But anywho, got that out. Here are the screws that go in. I'm gonna clean everything. Here is the filler door itself. There are 4 clips, and someone has been in here before because all of them broke off, and there is something rattling inside. But you need to take out this nut too in order to separate the plastic cover from the actual metal outer skin. I gave the gas filler door a once over with paint cleaner, followed by scratch remover, and then a nice buffing with car wax, and this is what it looks like now. But if you look from this angle over here, you can see a lot of scratches from a lifetime in car washes. I'm not gonna try to buff all of that out, but I am going to take this to the car parts store and see if I can find a matching paint. Okay guys, a short side project in this episode. This over here is the height sensor for the rear air suspension. This is from the left hand side, of course it is, and I noticed how dirty it is, and I took this loose and I forgot why that was, but I noticed that this upper ball joint is seized, it doesn't move smoothly, so I decided to take it off. And this wire, this grommet is in the trunk floor just in front of the spare wheel, and it connects to this connector to the cable loom underneath the fuel tank. Now as you can see, it's very dirty and I want to free this ball joint up. What I am going to do is, don't think I'll take it apart, but I want to clean it up a little bit, especially this bracket is very rusty. Okay folks, that escalated quickly. Over here I have all the parts of the connecting arm, and I have the ball joints loose and lubricated. They were really stuck. There are some brackets, and this is the arm. Now here is clever Japanese design. As you can see, it has two flat surfaces, so it's already pretty hard to put it on the wrong way. But there's a rounded, half round thingy on the top. It goes on there, so I believe this is called Boca yoke, where it's nearly impossible to assemble it in the wrong order. And this is the cover. I noticed it was very rusty, and I pried it off. And here is the inside, and as you can see on the left hand side and the right hand side, there is a photo cell, an optic cell with an LED and a proprietary chip from Aisin. It's very nicely made. The only thing is there isn't a connector in here. This cable is directly soldered on the circuit board. Can we see it there? Nah, it's behind that little bracket down there. And the cable is led through this line. Can take it out. And then it goes to the connector in the trunk. This is the end result of the air suspension height sensor. I coated it with rust reform and then matte black paint over it. I had to drill out those screws. They were really stuck, so I put two new ones in, tapped M5 in there, and this is the lever that attaches to the lower control arm. The only problem I have is this. This is the only problem left of the height adjustment sensor, and as you can see, I already freed up the ball joints, but the rubber boots are completely deteriorated. This is the only one left. Sure if the camera will focus on this. As you can see, it's completely dry rotted. I can't put this back on, and when I put this arm on like this, I think it'll take half a year and things are seized up again and things can get damaged. So what I did, I went online and tried to find new ball joints. I couldn't find boots. If it was absolutely necessary, I would have tried to make new boots for this, but I found these universal smaller ball joints online. Important thing to note is two things. They are a tad shorter. You measure from the center to the end. But what's really important is that you need a left-hand thread and a right-hand thread. I found a couple. I found them online. I believe they were €6. I'll link in the price here on Amazon. They got in yesterday. I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna measure the heart to heart, center to center distance, and then put those on with the same center to center distance. Well, the two ball joints are on. I measured the heart to heart distance. In my case it was 94 millimeters. Now they're almost there, but they're on only 3 or 4 windings, so that's very little. I'm not gonna adjust it anymore. I'm maybe gonna do that when I have it on the car. Now only thing I have left to do is put on the original nuts, and on the lower one, that's the one with the left hand thread, is this little thingy here with a camera focus. Is this thingy, this washer with a lip that goes on the lower control arm. Now this is how it sits in the car. There is the lever, and over there is the height adjustment sensor back in place. Maybe have to do some fine tuning to get the right height right. But anyway, that's the side project, the height adjustment sensor done. Oh, and one thing to note, when I took it apart, I put it back together using RTV so that it's completely watertight. And this is the final result of the spare wheel tub. It's nice and shiny. You can see some residue of the seam sealer, but I don't mind that when I have to work in that area over there where the last bit of rod is. I'm gonna throw in some blankets so I don't damage the paint. Well folks, that was a nice, quick and easy job in this episode. I'm happy I finished everything up in here. Now I can put wheels back on the car, move things over, move the car to the other side of my workshop and start working on the right hand side. But on a positive note, I found the correct matching paint in a rattle can. I'm gonna show you over here when you have the green colored LS 400, and this is the correct matching paint from a rattle can. I'm really happy how it matches, and I have a nice test bed here in the spare wheel area. Well, with that we reached the end of episode 24. I hope you liked following me along. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel, leave a like, give a comment, and if you want to help support the channel you can do so by buying me a coffee. I'll leave the link down below in the description box. Anywho, for now, I would like to thank you for watching and hope to see you on the next one. Bye!